Hey guys, call me Tay Infinite because I am absolutely stealing his format, or you can call me Charlie because today we're going to be talking about some silly, goofy shit that Microsoft has been doing. If you didn't know about Microsoft's very bad, not so good week that they've had, their emails got leaked. Emails between Phil Spencer and other people got leaked, which highlighted some plans that the company has to release some titles and kind of what their expectations were in terms of acquisitions. Now, these emails are apparently from 2022. So the information might be a little bit old in them. And Phil Spencer has said as much. He responded by saying that the information was old, but I still can't help to talk about it because it's really goofy, especially when we're talking about the acquisitions that they're doing. And it highlights a problem in the gaming industry that I feel has been in my mind for a while, but I haven't been quite able to articulate until I was in a group chat the other day with Tay and Crockett. So let's talk about some of the good things. For example, like ZeniMax, the company that owns Bethesda Softworks, gave a sales pitch and had a couple of interesting things in that sales pitch that were slated for 2022 through 2024, including an Indiana Jones game that I believe hasn't seen the light of day, a Doom Year Zero game that also has not seen the light of day. But they teased that they were working on an Oblivion remaster. Of course, there's no news about that. Nothing has come out about it. So it may be a scrap project, it may be not. But back in 2022 or 2023, they were talking about doing an Oblivion remaster. So when we're talking about 2023, which is almost the end of the year, they had some things announced like Doom Year Zero, Project Kestrel, and Project Platinum, none of which really we have gotten any news on, so I don't know what that was about. But excitingly for 2024, they had the projected year was The Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see how that plays out. Another licensed IP game that we're working on potentially a Fallout 3 remaster, and a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, Dishonored 3 as well, and DLC for Doom Year Zero. Sorry, editing Brian here. I was listening to the video and then realized that I forgot to mention a couple of things. Apparently, Phil Spencer wasn't impressed by the PS5 reveal. In an email to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, Phil Spencer described the Xbox Series X/S line as a better product than what Sony has, not just on hardware, but equally important on the software platform and services. He continued, "We have the ingredients of a winning plan. Today was a good day for us." That aged very, very poorly. Even if that was the case, Xbox has failed to capitalize on it. PlayStation clearly has the better titles, the better hardware, the better product, and Xbox is trying to catch up, which is why they're trying to buy everything. The Xbox Series X might go all digital. We didn't just get scans of emails from various source people. We also got some images and details of possible forthcoming hardware, including a cylindrical shaped Xbox Series X that will not include a disk drive. Codenamed Brooklyn, the leaked data indicates that the possible hardware refresh will include more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and a more immersive controller. And then talking about a controller, we got a redesign for the controller, who is attempting to do kind of the same things as the PS5 controller, just make it more immersive, have better haptic feedback, make it a little bit more ergonomic. And apparently you can play anywhere. It's Xbox Wireless 2, direct to cloud, and then Bluetooth 5.2. And you can potentially use it for your phone in the same way to use the Xbox Cloud Gaming app. That's what I'm assuming by Play Anywhere. And then, despite how the controller may look in this image, it looks a little bit different, and I will pop it up. The copy indicates that it will feature the same ergonomics as the current Xbox Series X controller, codenamed Merlin. And then finally, Microsoft sees its next Xbox as a cloud hybrid machine, which means that the future of the Xbox platform indicates that Microsoft is very much looking to the cloud to help power its post Xbox Series X/S console, for which is looking at a 2028 release. Microsoft describes such a machine as a next-generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. Cloud gaming. I guess in 2028, hopefully the infrastructure is a lot better for cloud gaming than it is right now, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. I feel like cloud gaming is still not a particularly great space, and making a whole console that lives in the cloud gaming sphere is a huge risk. And I think, in my opinion, is more evidence of how out of touch Xbox is with their fan base. None of us are asking for cloud gaming, at least not the people that I'm familiar with. None of us particularly like cloud gaming. It's always been a subpar experience and not particularly engaging or functional. So it's weird that they are trying to make that a thing. And I know why they're trying to make it a thing. It's because if you don't have this to sell, you can just sell all your product digitally, and you can have much more control about like what the player is able to buy in your marketplace. And that's a whole nother conversation about anti-consumerist practices when it comes to digital downloads that I'm not going to have in this video. All right, back to past me wearing the exact same thing, talking about his opinion on the rest of the stuff. Now, it makes sense that a lot of this information is outdated because a lot of these games never saw the light of day, or we haven't heard any official announcements about them. But that being said, that is kind of the only really good thing that came out of the Xbox leaks. We got some insight into the things that they want to be working on, or they plan to be working on, but for some reason haven't. Is that Xbox at some point, or Microsoft at some point, wanted to buy Nintendo or Valve if the opportunity presented itself. So this is from Kotaku. It said, in the leaked emails, Phil Spencer and Microsoft personnel discussed a possible acquisition of Nintendo. At some point, Spencer wrote, getting Nintendo would be a career moment. He speculated that the Japanese games giant could become more open to acquisition offers in the future due to changing pressures on its board of directors. It's just taken a long time for Nintendo to realize that their future exists off of their own hardware, he wrote. A long time, period, 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 otherwise known as an ellipses, smiley face. The email also reveals that Microsoft thought about purchasing Valve and Warner Bros. Games. So this is kind of where I get really frustrated with the way that the gaming industry is going, especially because we've just had to field so many conversations about the Activision deal that was happening and whether or not that would be sort of creating a monopoly and what it would do for the gaming industry. And all of the conversations have been very dumb, particularly on Twitter. But hearing Microsoft say that they want to buy Nintendo, the biggest market share company in the gaming industry, the most successful gaming company ever with the most successful franchises like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon, and 100 other RPGs that are so good. Microsoft wants to buy Nintendo. And also, I'm not the only one making fun of them for this. Here's Ben Starr, the voice actor for Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy 16, memeing
Yeah,
Xbox
hi, I'd like to
a
buy
little bit.
Nintendo, please. Why? Because I want to impress my friends. Because I want to look cool. How much? Because of the FTC. You didn't hear that. You're a great dog. More like FTC. Am I right? Please, I promised. Okay, fine, can I have some of it? Just a bit. A tiny bit of Metroid. Some Paper Mario. What about Kirby? Half a Pokemon. Come on. Monopoly? I just like games.
This is just an extremely goofy thing to say. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're a fanboy of Xbox or PlayStation. Buying Nintendo is an insane, unattainable goal that is going to happen. And to me, it speaks to how Microsoft, and particularly Phil Spencer, thinks about succeeding in a game industry that they were really successful prior, and for some reason have not been able to capitalize on any of their IPs or any of their products, and they're panicking. It feels like a panic thing to say because they need something to work. Xbox has been lately Xbox has been kind of a joke. Let's just say it the way it is. Xbox has been a joke in the game industry, particularly in this gaming generation. They have no particularly interesting IPs or exclusive IPs. They have no real brand identity that I can identify. Like back in the day, you had a PS2 or a PS3. You knew what games you were getting with the PS2 or the PS3. You knew you were an RPG guy. And you knew that you were in it for like long single player story games if you had a PS2. PS3 started sneaking a little bit more into the Xbox, like the FPS, the shooter market. But you knew what kind of gamer you were, what kind of games you were expecting out of those consoles. With the Xbox 360, you had probably the biggest online gaming generation ever, and they haven't been able to capitalize in it since the Xbox 360, which is why I think that thoughts like these happens. It's why I think Xbox is so desperately trying to acquire other studios and other publishers and other companies, because Xbox is in a state where they cannot succeed on their own. Xbox also talked about buying Valve, which is in itself an industry giant in the PC gaming market, because in my opinion, I guess they're trying to enter the gaming market for PC, and Xbox Game Pass for PC just isn't delivering the way that it should, and its games aren't making it on the platform, so they want to have a stake in the platform and make more money. Valve is another incredibly unattainable acquisition. Valve is a private company, sure. But the estimations of Valve's value have been that they are making billions of dollars, $7 billion at a time, which means that the acquisition deal would have to be something equivalent to Activision. And that's some language that I got straight from this article. I'll find it later and put it on the screen. But for a company like Xbox, who has been on the market, quote unquote, failing, quote unquote, not producing interesting product and not attracting an audience, to say that they want to not attract an audience, to say that they want to purchase big companies like Nintendo and Valve, and having recently got off this whole debacle about the Activision deal, that it's still going on. I don't even know where that is right now, but it's been a nightmare to field the conversations for. For a company like Xbox to come out of the gate and say, hey, we want to buy Nintendo and Valve, is kind of a PR nightmare for them, because to me it reads as a company that is so desperate for any sort of success and so unwilling to invest in their own infrastructure and try to catch up with what Nintendo, Valve, and PlayStation are doing, that they just want to buy their way into making more money so that they can keep their platforms alive and well, which is incredibly frustrating for me, because I think, and honestly I feel this way, it is ruining the way that gaming works kind of as an ecosystem. When you are not making interesting things, you don't deserve the reward of being in the space. You just don't. Like Sony, and I'm not a brand loyalist, right? I don't care which console performs the best. I don't care which console has the best games. I'm going to buy the console that I think I'm going to have the most fun in. And right now, that is Sony. They just have the best games. They have games that I like. Nintendo is the second one to that. I love everything that Nintendo has to offer. But when I go into Xbox, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, attracting me to Xbox. I have Xbox PC Game Pass, and I forgot that I was paying for the subscription because there was nothing in there that was interesting to me. And I have to cancel it. I forget I have to cancel it. But the idea that Xbox can just walk, or like Phil Spencer's thing, that they can just eventually buy Nintendo and buy Valve and sort of reclaim their spot at the top of the market, is insane. They also talked about purchasing Warner Bros. Games, and that one seems a little bit more realistic, but that is significantly less big than purchasing Valve and Nintendo, and I think a little less goofy. I think it would be annoying to see them buy their way into success. And here is kind of what I mean about that. When you have a product that people just aren't buying, you have no legitimate brand identity or nothing particularly interesting to say in the space, and you just keep gobbling up people in the industry so that you can make money, there's two things that are going to happen there. One, eventually everyone that you buy and everyone that you acquire is going to follow the same fate as you, because now they're kind of controlled by you. The shareholders are beholding them to the same expectations that you have. There's two ways that I think that this affects the space. One, it creates a culture where, like, slowly building monopolies in the hope that the FCC doesn't catch you or block your deals. It's kind of like the way to succeed. So you just keep buying smaller people under you, or if you're Phil Spencer, you keep buying big ones, or trying to pretend that you're going to buy big ones in the future. You're just not going to make anything interesting. You're just not. You're not. Your money is not in the place where it should be to make interesting product for your consumers. It is an inherently anti-consumer thing, because everything becomes the same product. If you buy Nintendo, if you buy Valve, if you buy whatever, those companies are not going to remain untouched. They are going to be affected by legitimately bad leadership. Proven that Xbox has no ability to stay in its own market and again make anything interesting with dead IPs like Halo and Gears of War. And I say dead because the last entry was Halo Infinite, and that was riddled with so much controversy and so much lack of polish. There hasn't been an entry in Gears of War 5 in the last like 3 to 4 years, I believe. And Redfall, which was like their last big entry, failed dramatically because they are just not putting in the effort or putting in the money to invest in the people making good things, giving them the time and taking the risk. They are trying to purchase their way to success. And like I said, two things are going to happen out of that. Everything becomes the same and everything becomes uninteresting, but it also changes the conversation in the gaming industry from one of where we are talking about how to make the interesting thing, how to talk about gaming, how to review games. All of that changes because now the conversation is not about the product itself, but it's always about the state of the industry. Oh, who is Xbox buying to make up for the fact that Sony made $3 billion last year? Or who is Sony acquiring to make this single player game? Are they buying somebody? Are they working with a second party? Are they working third party? What's going on? The conversation changes. It is no longer about the products. It's no longer about the games. It's about what is this big company doing to profit from the game, to profit from other people that are doing a lot of very hard work. And this company comes in, they throw $30 billion at a problem or a company and they buy it. And so now they get the revenue of somebody who is actually doing great work. And then in a couple of years, when that company is no longer doing great work to the standards of the big company that acquired it, they go ahead and shut it down. They say it's closing, you're out of a job, we're done. So it's ruining the gaming sphere. It's ruining the culture about gaming. It's ruining the conversations. It's making it so that when you go on Twitter and you Google Xbox or Sony, the conversation is really, really, really all about Sony ponies think that this is fair when they've been buying studios left and right, which is absolutely not the case. And then it just becomes a conversation of like people that have no real insight into the industry talking about the industry, which I know is ironic because I am one of the people that has no significant insight into the industry talking about the industry. But I have a lot of opinions about it. And I think that this idea that Xbox can just buy their way into success by acquiring Nintendo or acquiring Warner Bros. Games or acquiring Valve is emblematic of how dire the state of AAA gaming is. AAA gaming is bad. There have been a lot of really good games recently. Baldur's Gate, Final Fantasy 16, the last Call of Duty was kind of good. And so I'm not discounting the value of great games in the AAA space, but the culture surrounding AAA gaming is no longer about the games themselves. It's no longer about making a kick-ass Halo. It's about how do we make money off of something that already exists. Let's not invest in our infrastructure. Let's not invest in interesting people making an interesting game. Let's not invest in great writing, great coding, give our developers time to work. Let's pump it all out, throw it out there, buy the people that are doing the good work, squeeze them for everything that they're worth, and then we fucking throw them away. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It has made the conversation so tiresome. And it's annoying. It's annoying. Xbox is, I don't want to say anything dramatic like Xbox is ruining the gaming space, or something like Xbox is killing the game industry or whatever. But I do strongly believe that if you are a company working in today's space and you are not making anything that your audience wants to play, or you're not making anything to capture a new audience, you deserve to fail. And you deserve to fail big. There is no reason why Xbox, and of course, because it's owned by Microsoft, they can afford to do this, but there is no reason that they should be able to buy their way out of a failure or out of like a middling generation. They shouldn't be able to do that. They should fail. And I think that Xbox should start trying to innovate or start trying to make something interesting rather than buy every other studio or publishing under the sky so that they can survive in an increasingly annoying gaming market. Anyway, I think that's it. I think what I'm trying to say is that Xbox needs to change. There needs to be either a change in leadership or a change in approach. Like I said, I'm not a Sony pony. I play the console that gives me the most fun, which happens to be the PS5. And I love some Xbox games. Like I was a huge Xbox 360 guy. I played Halo back in the day. I love Gears of War. I played the last Gears of War. Xbox has some great stuff. They have some great products. Like Xbox Game Pass has some great indie titles. But their AAA titles, their brand identity, their sort of exclusive IPs need to be better because it all sucks right now, and we're feeling the effects of it because I feel like Xbox is panicking and trying to buy everything that they can left and right, and it's some silly, goofy shit, and it's annoying. It's annoying. It's ruining the conversation in the space. It's ruining a bit of the culture, and I think that it just needs to either fail or get better, and they can't be bailed out by the idea of buying people that are actually doing the work. I think that's annoying. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say. I guess it's just a little rant, just a little criticism about the way that the game industry is going right now. I think it's annoying. I think they're not doing anything interesting. And I think that the fact that, again, that they're trying to buy their way out of a rut is dumb. It shouldn't be allowed. And I know we've had the conversation. I don't know a lot about the Activision Xbox deal right now, but I hope that doesn't go through. I hope that it kind of falls flat. Because if that goes through, I feel like that's going to be the beginning of the end, where we are talking about AAA titles. And indie titles are going to be the thing that dominates, which is good. It's like the movie thing where like the golden era of filmmaking was dominated by like independent directors. Maybe we need that for gaming. But the AAA gaming sphere is a fucking joke. The conversations on Twitter are a joke. And Xbox is really goofy for one, having leaked these, because these leaked as a result of the Activision court proceedings that are going on. And two, I think Xbox is really on the wrong track here. And I think that they need a better approach to their spot in the gaming market.